Hello, it's me and you. Again, okay, we're back and we're here for more PhD wisdom. Today's video are things to think about before starting a PhD. Okay, I've written down some notes. We got 5 bullet points to get through. I'm gonna try and be quick. Why? Because the sun is over there. I feel like I should have changed the lighting because I'm giving you blue and mysterious on this side and very warm here, and it's like, this is kind of Anyway, okay, let's get back to it. So, let's go. Starting number 5. Things to think about before starting a PhD. Number 5, finances. Ladies, leave your man at home. The club is full of ballers and the pockets full grown. Anyway, listen. Why am I singing that song? Why is that song coming to my mind? I'm not exactly sure, but run with me. Why am I singing that song? Why am I singing that song? Because even in that song, Beyonce is telling the ladies to consider where they locate, depending on where the financial resources are. Granted, it's giving hypergamy. And I'm not here to suggest that the worth of a man is only tied to how much money is in his pocket. That's a separate conversation, and I will not get canceled today, okay? But what I am telling you is when you're a PhD student, that stipend is enough to pay for rent and pay for toilet paper. So wipe your tears. That's it. That's all you can afford to do. That's all you can afford to do. So you're gonna want to bring if being comfortable is important to you, okay? And I'm a comfortable girly. We got a little comfortable blanket, a little comfortable stuffed animal, a little comfortable shrine of sorts. Got a comfortable heater because it's cold out here. Don't tell the housing and accommodation staff. Anyway, okay, we got some comforts here. If you want comfort, you need to think about finances. You need to come in with a little bit of dough when you walk through the dough. Okay, you need to have a little bit of dough when you walk through the dough. You get what I'm saying? Don't come here because I'm telling you right now, they will try to tell you to be comfortable with nothing. That you're a student and you don't need money. No, you need money, honey. You need money. That way you can take yourself out to eat after a long week. You need money so you can go to grocery store and get that candy you don't need, but it's going to make you feel better. You need money so you can go to a concert. You need money so at the end of the year, you can take a little road trip or get on the Eurostar and go to Paris. I don't care what you do. Okay, I don't how you live your life. Some people don't need anything. Some people need everything. Whatever you want, calculate it and prepare for it. Don't come here and thinking that the love of education will be enough to hold you at night. No, what will hold you at night is a blanket. And that blanket will not be free. I worked for about 2 to 3 years before I started this program. I had a really sizable savings. And I needed it. I needed it because for most PhD programs that are offering students, I'm not going to say most because most would insinuate some type of statistical measurement that I haven't done. There are some programs that are in more affordable cities and there are some that are very expensive cities. Look at the cost of living in your city and I want you to look at 5 factors. How much is rent going to cost me? How much is transportation going to cost me on a weekly basis? How much will food cost me? How much do I expect to spend on fun? Whether that's, and whatever your version of fun might be. Being fun might be going to the pub, fun might be going to a musical, fun might be going on a trip, fun might be flying to the moon. I don't care, whatever it is. But make sure you calculate what you need, what your soul needs. And then some, just some extra cash. And then how much do I spend on a monthly average? How much will I need to support myself? How much am I being compensated, if at all? If you have caring responsibilities, you have a spouse, you have children, factor all of those things in. How much does my life cost? And how much do I need to sustain myself through this period where I'm investing in myself to take myself to the next level or just fulfill a dream? Look at the numbers, honey. Now, I always tell my friends, I don't give financial advice, but always make sure you can pay your rent and like where you live because you're going to come to it every day after a hard day, after a long day. And it might be a day you love. Oh, we learned so much. This was so interesting. You still want to lay your head down somewhere cozy. Okay, number 4. You need it. Oh, sorry, y'all. What's motivating you to do this? What's motivating you to do this PhD? And the reason why I want, or this graduate program, I'm a PhD student, so I always say PhD, but it could be medical school, it could be graduate, law degree, dental school, pharmacy school, physical therapy, whatever it is, educational degree. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Why am I putting myself through this? Because you will ask yourself that question. Why did I volunteer? This is voluntary. In fact, I begged you guys to let me in, and now I'm here, and I'm wondering why I brought myself here. You got to know your why. You got to know your why, because that why is going to carry you through the end. There are going to be times when you're tired. I wish if I could like twitch on command, I'd twitch my eye. There are going to be times when you're tired. It's so important that you understand what's keeping you through. For me, I love to learn. I'm a curious person, and personally, there are times when I'm like, I could learn and not go through this. But there's also maybe like socially in my ethnic community and my upbringing, there's a value and a reverence for people who reach the peak of their academic success. That doesn't need to be the only thing pushing you, but just know your why. Number 3, things to think about, right? Before starting a PhD or graduate program, look at the faculty. Figure out your supervisor. And I've done a separate video on that, but I say that supervisor relationship is like a marriage. This is someone you are going to be with through the long haul for the next 3 to 7 years, depending on the length of your program. You guys are going to be in it. Most programs, you need to speak with them at least once a week. Ideally, you're in communication not once a week, once a month is the requirement. Ideally, you're in communication at least once a week. Y'all need to like each other. Imagine somebody said you have to date this person. If you don't think that you could go to dinner and be okay, it's going to be a long 4 years. Now, when I say date, right, what I mean by that is just there's a level of like dependence on each other and teamwork needed. And it's really right. If your professor, you walk into a classroom and they said, hey, you're going to do a group project with this person for the next 7 years, but you're taking the lead on it, you would be really mindful about who am I picking to do this project with. You might not. You might think, oh, it's just it's not that big of a deal. I'll do all the work and we'll figure it out. No, make sure that this supervisor is someone that you really get along with. Think about that. That's really, really, really important. It's a long relationship. Number 2, another thing I think about more seriously is your registration status. And I say this as someone who is an international student. As an international student in the UK, there are just a lot more limitations on me in regards to how long I can be out of the country, in regards to if I want to work, how many hours I can work, whether or not I can set up a business. When you're in the US and you are an employee from the university, there are also restrictions on what you can and cannot do, but there are limitations on me as an individual, as someone who's not a national of this country. And I would say that there are services that I can't name them, or not that I can't name them, but none are specifically coming to mind. But there are certain instances where I realized like, if I needed more time for my project, I really don't have that luxury because I can't get an extension on my visa, right? I have to finish this within my visa. If I was a domestic student, if you need to take a break for a semester or take off for a year, it's not an issue, right? Because your residency to this country isn't tied to this academic program the same way it is for an international student. So that's something to really think about if you are considering doing a program abroad, right? If you need an extra year or an extra month or an extra week, honey, we're going to have to file that with the immigration office. Put that down on paper and make sure it's okay. It's a little bit extra hassle. And the last thing, number 1, think about location. Think about location, and I have a separate video on this, but location is important because if you're moving, you'll be away from the community you've currently built. That can be your family and your relatives. That could be the family you've built through your lived experience in your life and the people you love. You'll be away from them, and it's hard to be the best version of yourself when you are away from the things that hold you up. So think about that. Where do you want to live? Some places we want to live, or do we just want to go there for a weekend? Do we just want to go there for a month, just for a summer? You might not know until you try it. And this life is to learn. You came here to experience. You can't be scared to go. But I'm also telling you, sometimes a little bit of I would go to the city and stay there for an extended time beforehand if you can. If you can't, listen, you'll be fine. The world will keep spinning. But I would think about location. Where you're going to live, and the cost of living, again, relative to your income or the income you will have access to, which ties us back to number what? 5, finances. That city might look cute, but it won't be cute when you're paying $3,000 to live in a shoebox. Not just a shoebox that got Mickey Mouse crawling in the walls. A shoebox in a food desert. Huh? Oh, honey boo boo. No. Okay. Think about where you're living. And currently in my program, I really like the city I live in. Grocery store walking distance, gym walking distance, can get into town and go get a nice, something nice to eat. I can take a train to London and be there. It takes a while from where I live, but once I get to the train station, a 40-minute train, those are things that are nice. So think about location, think about the life you want to live, because the other thing, and I didn't write this down, plan to still live life while you're doing your program. Don't put every dream on hold. Don't put every dream on hold until the end. I mean, depends on you, but if you're me, no. If you, whether that is your goals when it comes to being in a romantic relationship, don't put it on hold for a program. Well, what? 5 years? You gonna sit here for 5 years and do nothing? And when I say do nothing, that's a whole different video. I'm not talking about that. But I'm just saying, let your heart be known. If you have passions and a business you want to start, see what things you can do along the way. Assuming you don't need a license. Hello, we don't need doctors practicing before they are legally required to. You make sure you get to the end of that. But continue to pursue your dreams. If you're someone like me and you have a lot of dreams and a lot of things you want to do, don't let this stop you. So those are the things I would consider before starting a PhD, that this will not be the only thing you do. This is just, and depends on how you pursue it. But for me personally, in order to make sure that I'm still myself and a person, I let the PhD be one part of my life as opposed to my entire life. Because these programs and these instructors will try and tell you, you got to eat, breathe, eat, and sleep this stuff. And the people who get to the top really do. So you really got to have that hustle. But let's play hard too. Anyway, Sean, that's everything from me. I think we did good today. Tell me which tip you resonate with, you think is valuable, or add tips. What did I forget? What would you have considered if you've been in a grad school, if you're going to grad school and you have questions? Let me know. Hope this helps. Okay. Bye.